Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. We are from the fourth group. We are going to explain about integrating content-based and task-based approaches for teaching, learning, and research. We are Neneng Nursalia Pujasari and Windy Zahara. In teaching and language learning, many approaches are applied in order that aim of the teaching and learning can be achieved in the classroom, whether in formal or informal course. Approaches have important role in conducting teaching and learning to help teacher design how the classroom is designed to make students or learner can get what the teacher deliver to them. Nowadays, teaching and learning applied approaches that give students change to do activities more than teacher does in the classroom. Learner have a role much in learning process, so the teacher as facilitator provide the guidance to do activities and control during the process. There are two major approaches are developed in the era where learner becomes center of teaching and research. Those are content-based and task-based approaches where the students are engaged to their interest and goal in teaching, but still communicative and academic and professional framework. In this discussion, we'll be talking more about task-based and content-based approaches and its integrating and applying in teaching, learning, and research. Content-based approach. Content-based approach is well known as center-based instruction. In this instruction, focus on learning process is content that should be learned by the learner based on needs stated in curriculums. Content provided by teachers should easy to understand and based on the learner need in terms of age. Content-based is an approach to learn English that combine the content of the lesson with the use of language so that students can communicate ideas that are relevant to certain subject. Learning English can use materials such as science and other lessons as lessons that support English itself. Task-based approach. Task-based approach is one of approach is language teaching and learning that focus on student or learner center. The approach design learning activities that encourage learner involved in task providing by the teacher. It emphasis in how learners do the task and process to get the goal of learning language. In these approaches, needs creativity of the teacher in design the process of providing the tasks that can engage learners into meaningful activities of learning. When the students do the task, they will get experience from the task like and acquiring the target language through it. Having real experience will make students more understand how to use target language in the communication. Input, feedback, and production process that inform task design. Teaching and learning process in classroom cannot avoid learners' error or mistakes either vocabulary or grammatically. Teacher and classmates surely give correction in form of vocabulary supply to the learner and rarely give linguistic feature supply to make correct answer. Giving correction to the learners in teaching and learning process called input. There are two kinds of input that provide by teacher and classmate. Those are positive evidence and negative evidence. Positive evidence is a kind of info that learners receive concerning the target language itself in a natural linguistic environment, while in contrast, negative evidence provide information about what is not possible in the target language. An example of positive evidence. The learner said, "You are happy," or "Are you happy?" There are two hypotheses that language learner might postulate about how to form question. The first, auxiliary verb in the sentence here are move to the beginning of the sentence. Positive evidence correct about grammatically. An example of negative evidence. In providing negative evidence to the learner, teacher, classmate, and interlocutor can use request and recast. Request is used by formulating what learners said before in order to get correct meaning, while recast is by interlocutors by restating what possible meaning that they think what the learner means. Example, reformulation. Learners, my glass broken. Interlocutor, your glasses, are your glasses broken? Request with reformulation. Learners, yes, glasses. As a response. The next example recast. Learner, my glass broken. Interlocutor, your glasses are broken. Task as instrument for teaching, learning, and research. Task has important role in teaching and learning process. Tasks can be formed in exercise and activities. There are three procedures in applying the task in the classroom, as explained by G. Wills and Wills in Cook. The first phase consists of topic-oriented, input-rich, free task activities during which small group of students get ready for their main task with teacher support. This is followed by a planning phase in which the groups carry out the task as well as draft and practice a report on their task work. In the third phase, the learners share their report with their classmates. In research, task is used as instrument to get data that will be analyzed. Content that related to the linguistic feature of target language can be delivered in some activities, tasks like jigsaw, sport, the difference, and grammar of communication.
5. Designing language-focused tasks for the content-based classroom. Tasks with their integration of language and content can be effective tools for the learner's mastery of language and content. In order to achieve the goal of the language teaching and learning, tasks and content must be designed as good as possible as integrating approach. Task direction begins with a purpose statement. Tasks have to be designed to help students easier and enjoy to learn, and to be supported by appropriate content. Teacher, researcher, and learner involvement was ongoing in task design, piloting, and revision. Designing and implementing tasks focused on content base can be done collaboratively by researcher and teacher. This task is used to treat the student learning. Making and designing the task is consistent with the instructional curriculum and not intrusive to the schedule and format that students had come to expect. Content tasks should be authentic in order to give students real experience based on the target language. This aims to enhance the task design and make the task long-term use for teaching and research. Tasks have to be integrated into curriculum text, topic, and assignment. The task focus on content. 6. Focus tasks. Design and implementation for teaching, learning, and research. In carrying out the task, the learners were asked to work together, compare, choose, evaluate, and reconstruct the passage features, sentences, and text. The tasks were helping them with academic skills such as proofreading and editing. There are three design tasks are used in the research. Those are spot the different, jigsaw, and grammar communication. In doing the task, students are asked to work together by doing the grammar task given. For example, spot the different tasks. Pairs of learners read and discuss the same original passage, and then each learner was given a version of the passage with slight modification to the article or verbs in its sentences. If the table appeared in sentence in the original passage, this phrase appeared as a table in one learner's version, while the original phrase, the table, was retained in the other learner's version. Each version had a mix of the original phrases and their modified counterparts. The learners were asked to find differences between the sentences of their version, select which of the two sentences they thought was better, and justify their selections. Then, without looking back at the original passage or either of their version, they had jointly reconstruct the original passage. Example: Jigsaw. Ask the learners to reorder sentences to match those of an original passage. Second, grammar communication. Fill in blanks to make the sentence complete full. We continue to the last slide. It is concluding remarks. TAS can integrate many of the strategies that teachers use to provide learners with adjusted input, feedback, negotiation, direct instruction, opportunities for modified production of output. These strategies are themselves also interesting as they can be used during lesson, discussion, debates, and other activities in the content classroom. Tasks are just one vehicle for their classroom implementation.
This all our presentation today. Thank you for the nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.